Heyo everybody, Haku here with my first review for Assassination Classroom, or Ansatsu Kyoshitsu, I think is the Japanese title for it. So this is the first series that I'm doing in a new series of series, which is having patrons choose something for me to do reviews on, or reactions to, or anything like that. And the first thing that patrons decided was anime reviews for Assassination Classroom. So that's what I'm going with here, and I loved it. So I found out that I was going to be doing this series like last Thursday, so I wanted to start doing videos like last week, but I was busy and it was short notice, and I was like, okay, let's get this on Crunchyroll. And of course I looked on Netflix too, because I have Netflix, but there's like barely ever any anime there. But neither one of them had it, and I was like, oh, how am I gonna do this? Funimation came in clutch though. You can watch it if you're like looking to watch along with me, or if you've already seen it and are going to re-watch along with me. Funimation is clutch. You can watch it for free there. So their system, their site is kind of a little bit not that easy or great to use, but they came in clutch. You can watch it for free there. So that was great. So that's where I am going to be watching it on, so you know what subs I'm using and all that. And I am watching it subbed, not dubbed, just because that's what I prefer personally. I didn't hear anybody tell me anything sub or dub either way. I'm just personally choosing sub because I think that it's 99% of the time the better choice to go for. So yeah, is that everything? Oh yeah, since this is like a 22 episode season, I'm going to be trying to catch up a little bit since I didn't start this kind of at the beginning of the season. Because again, this is getting off topic a little, but just bear with me for a quick minute. So I want to have the voting for new series happen every time a new anime season starts. So I'm a little bit like half of the anime season late on this one, so I'm gonna need to do a few videos if I want to catch up, because I'm assuming this will be voted to continue this for the next anime season. So if I want to finish this by the end of the year, I need to do maybe 4 extra videos, and it's something I wanted to do anyway, where if I have extra time on like Wednesday, you might get a second Assassination Classroom review in 1 week, if I just have some extra time on a Wednesday or something like that. But yeah, about the episode, to finally get into it. The way I'm going to be doing these reviews, and again, it feels weird talking about this stuff, but I feel like it's important to bring up how I'm going to be doing the reviews and everything, since it's the first review in a series, and I feel like a lot of new people might be coming in for this. The way I do my anime reviews is I watch it one time just for fun, and then once I watch it one time just for fun, I take notes on some general thoughts I had on it, and then I go back through and I watch it a second time and I take more detailed notes scene by scene while watching. And I use those to help me stay on track so I don't forget anything. So first off, let's talk about my general thoughts after the first time watching. I totally loved it. I thought it was great. It's this feeling you get where, like, when you're watching just a whatever anime that's airing season to season, you watch the first episode and you're like, yeah, this is the whatever anime that airs season to season. But then some of them you watch and it's like, okay, this is going to be one of the ones where people are coming back to it years later as, oh, that's something really good to watch. And this totally, definitely had that feeling. I really like the main character. They are the prettiest member of the class. Their hair is amazing. So, yeah, main character, I really like him. I really like the art style. Now, it looks almost like the backgrounds, like the hallway and classroom and stuff, almost look like some sort of pre-rendered background, and all the characters are like, they have these sort of thick lines to the characters, and it looks almost as if they're all just sort of added in on top of the same sort of background, almost as if the background is in 3D and they can shoot it from different angles. No, I'm like 99% sure or certain that's not the way they're doing it, but that's the way it looks, and it's a really interesting art style, how you have just this detailed normal background and the more stylized character designs put on top of that. I actually really like it. and there's a lot of detail in the character movement too, which I think is really, really cool. Getting into the character designs, most of them look very, very normal actually. I was expecting a lot of more weird anime-ish designs, because the only two that kind of stand out are really Nagisa, the main character, and the girl with the green hair, who has pretty pretty complex hair as well. So the two of them are the ones that really stick out as having very different designs, but most of the characters don't really stand out much. They look pretty normal, which is interesting enough because it's not exactly what I was expecting. And going into this, another thing I forgot to say kind of at the beginning is that I don't know anything about this series going into it. I had seen Koro Sensei before because, of course, seeing him on Jump covers and stuff, and I knew his name was Koro Sensei, but I had never seen any of these other characters before, which is weird because it's like, I've never seen Haikyuu, but if you were to show me like a Jump cover and you're like, I'd be able to pick out the Haikyuu main character. I know what they look like, generally. The same is true of, what is it, Shokugeki no Soma? Is that Food Wars? I've never seen that. But I can tell kind of in my head what the main character looks like. But I had no clue what any of the characters from Assassination Classroom looked like at all. So I went into this and I didn't know what the story was about. I went in completely blind to watch this. One thing that's good about Koro Sensei's, good about their design, is that they really went through a good effort to make them look weird. And weird is sort of a general, very relative thing. But they did a really good job, especially in the scene towards the end where they're trying to make them look more scary and grotesque. They just did a general good job of making them look weird, making them look off from everything else. Of course, they're like a sort of cartoony mascot-ish looking character, so of course they're going to look that way, but just instead of making them look fully cutesy or anything, the hands look really weird and off. There's always just something that looks off, which I think they do a really, really good job at. And getting away from this production stuff, which is great, to talk about the story a little bit, I think the story is really, really interesting. And I think that something is very much deeper going on here. Like, it's not as simple as, oh, he's gonna blow up the Earth and they have to stop him. There's definitely something deeper and more mysterious going on. And one thing that I actually kind of like is usually you would expect to be like a few episodes in before they start hinting that there's something deeper or different going on with Koro Sensei, but no, they just threw it to us in episode 1 with that one flashbackish scene, just threw it to us immediately. Yeah, there is something deeper and stranger going on here in the background that we're probably going to find out more about as the series goes on. So I love that. Oh, for me personally, I put a note in here, bullet point. For me personally, the thing I would do, he moves at Mach 20. Assassinating him physically seems like basically impossible. Like, my strategy would be basically to assassinate them mentally, make them care about the students so much that they couldn't possibly destroy the world. So, yeah, I would go for sort of a psychological approach of, why try to kill something that's nigh unkillable by human means, even with the best technology and military stuff that they have? Why go for that when you could just sort of do something to make it so that they wouldn't want to destroy the world anyway, or wouldn't need to anyway, or anything? So that would just be the thing that I would go for. But, yeah. Oh, another thing, when we got into the stuff with them being in Class E and what that means and everything, you can assume that means we're going to get a lot of sad backstories. We're going to get sad backstories of how these characters ended up in Class E. So that's something that is sort of telegraphed that I think is cool. And the last thing to talk about in my general thoughts is the ending and opening. I think the ending is amazing. I love the ending. The animation, the song, it's all amazing. And the one thing I didn't like about this entire episode is the opening. I really just do not like the opening. I don't like the animation for it. I don't like the song. Everything about this, from story to production, everything about this episode was amazing. I just don't like the opening. So yeah, those were all my general thoughts. Now, let's go through, and I knew this was going to be kind of a long review because it was very, very good, and it's also something that I'm going into completely blind. So this is going to end up being kind of a long review, but now it's time to talk about sort of what happened in the episode part by part and my thoughts on it with the notes I took my second time watching. So one of the first things you notice from the very beginning is how unique and different the style is, which I really appreciate. There are a lot of anime that I can say that about, that when I watch it I'm like, I can't really compare that to anything else, and it makes it better for me. Like, I feel like Fire Force right now that's airing currently is kind of like that. Madoka Magica is definitely, certainly a show like that doesn't really look or feel like any other show, and it really makes it even better that it doesn't. The same can definitely be said in a comedy of Asobi Asobase. It's just so different from other shows that it makes it even better. And that's what I feel about this show. It has a really unique style that I know this is kind of a shonen, but it doesn't exactly remind me of any other shonen. Like even Fire Force, just bringing that up, it's written by the same person as Soul Eater. It is kind of reminiscent of Soul Eater. It's also very reminiscent of Boku no Hero Academia. It has a lot of similarities to that. Whereas you look at this and you really don't see as many of those similarities. This is very, very much a different, unique case. But we get our information on Koro Sensei. He moves at max speed, Mach 20. He explains the BBs that they shoot at him in the opening scene, pretty much for the audience, because you'd figure the kids would know by then. But the weapons they have don't harm humans, but are totally, totally harmful to him. So it explains how they wouldn't be hurting each other, or shouldn't be hurting each other. Also, we get the name of the school, and I hope I didn't write this down wrong, it was Kunugigaoka High School. So they mentioned something that I was actually thinking about before recording this. I thought that they were, I even have it in my notes here. They said something about being third years, so I assumed, like they said, in the third year of school this happened. So I assumed previously that they were around 17 years old, maybe 18 if they're on the older side, depending on the school, depending on the time of year they were born. I thought that's around the age they were, but if they're saying the moon was destroyed in their third year, and it seems like going to E-class might be kind of a newish thing, they might actually be first years, and they were just talking about this happened in their third year of middle school, and now this is now happening in their first year of high school, which would make them around 15-ish, which I could totally see. So, yeah, it's sort of a situation where I may have misread that the first time, so I'm not sure if they're in their third year of high school or if they're in their first year of high school, and they were just referencing the moon being destroyed in their third year of middle school. So I may have misread the timeline my first time watching through, or I thought they were third year in high school. But I tried to count in the opening. We got the opening right before that, to see how many were in the class. I think there are 26 of them. I think so, but later on the one character says something about 30 people, but I'll get to that. So yeah, we get our flashback explanation of how they got into this situation and all that, and how Koro Sensei plans to destroy Earth. We get the government guy's name is Karasama. And also, we get the clarification that Koro Sensei is not an alien, and I love the way they take offense to that and everything. And Koro Sensei's voice, I really, really like. And that's one thing, I watched like the first scene in the dub by accident, my second time through watching, because I didn't have my settings right, and I didn't like their voice very much. Again, nothing against the voice actor and all that, I just think the way that it was cast to have the more high-pitched, silly voice is a much better fit for the character, in my opinion. So yeah, I love the voice acting for them. I love the main character's voice. The main character's voice is so good. The way they choose to have a sort of more high-pitched and feminine voice to go with their androgynous appearance, I thought worked really well and just fits the character. So yeah, I love those voices, and a lot of the background voices were really good too. I'm excited to meet some more of those characters. I think one voice I particularly liked was I don't know how to describe her, the girl with the haircut that looks sort of like Haru from Persona 5. that girl. And she, again, is one of the only designs that really stood out to me to remember that she was different as well. Her and the one guy that was part of the three that were kind of bully-ish toward Nagisa with the curly hair, his design was kind of memorable too. But yeah, either way, we learned that they have until March to kill Koro-sensei and all that. And during that time, he can't harm the students or anything. So that's part of the deal. Now, Karasuma mentions that doing it this way and giving in to Koro-sensei's demands gives them the opportunity to have 30-some people close enough to try to kill him. So I don't think that means there are actually exactly 30 in the class, though we may get some transfer students or something maybe, or maybe there are 30 and I just counted wrong in the opening, or the opening isn't showing them all right now. But I do believe there were 26 in the opening, so maybe that was just a general statement of around 30 people. Also, the reward for, I think, just whoever the specific one who kills him is 10 billion yen, which to me doesn't seem like that high of a price for the Earth itself. Now, that's a lot of money. That's probably like $10 million or $100 million or so, which is an absolute inordinate ton of money. But if you're going to put a price tag on all of Earth itself, it does feel like it should be a bit higher than 100,000. Like, there are just tons of, well, not tons of people, but there are people on Earth that have inordinately, more wealth than just that. And they're not saving the planet. So, yeah, it seems sort of unfair. That's not really a high enough price for the Earth itself, in my opinion. Another thing is that the members of the class have to keep this a secret. And an interesting thing we see that I love is that Koro-sensei is weirdly great at teaching. I mean, they say he's a normal teacher, but just the fact that he's caring about them and stuff like that, I don't know, to me it seems weirdly great at teaching. So I actually really, really like that quirk of the personality in the way that Koro-sensei cleans everything as he's looking down on everyone. I really like that too. So we get our Class C scene explaining that now that they're basically rejects pretty much. And we see that Nagisa has studied the colors that Koro-sensei turns, which was cute and all. But in some of the flashbacks, it seems like Nagisa's old friends sort of all abandoned him when he joined the E-class, and I believe that was his old teacher in the one flashback, pretty much disrespecting him and abandoning him too. Another thing, Kayano, that's the girl's name with the green hair. I liked her voice too. I added in my bullet points so I would remember to bring it up, that I liked her voice too. And just the voices in general I think are really, really great. So we get some information after lunchtime that Koro-sensei goes pink and slow after lunch. So that's all interesting. We have our first assassination attempt on him using Nagisa as a suicide bomber, and we learn about the once-a-month ace in the hole that Koro-sensei has being able to shed their skin. So, yeah, and then we get the sort of scary scene with Koro-sensei. I think is really, really good. They really went through good effort to make him look fearsome and scary, and I think it was done super, super well. But he basically says, if you try something disrespectful and horrible that might get one of your classmates killed like that again, I can't harm you, but I could kill your families, I could kill your friends, I could kill everyone on Earth except for you. So that sort of puts it into perspective that, oh yeah, they need to actually kill him and save the world, because they literally can't run anywhere. He just made it all over the city in the blink of an eye, and also he could just kill everyone pretty easily. So I think that's about all that happened. Oh, we get a little bit more development for Nagisa, saying that they actually kind of like the situation they're in because Koro-sensei is actually seeing them for them, which is really, really cool. And then we have this hint at Koro-sensei's past, and I love it. I love it so much. And we go into the ending, which is amazing. I love the ending so, so much. So yeah. That was all the notes I had. As a whole, if I were to throw it together in one short thing to explain all of it, I would say that it was really unique and awesome. So, yeah, I loved it totally, and I think one of the biggest draws for me was how unique and how different it is. I think that's one of the biggest things for me that made it better. Also, just the general art style of the production. It's not, I mean, the production was very, very, very good, but it's not even necessarily that the production was very, very, very good, but that it had a lot of style to it that it didn't necessarily need to have, but it having it kind of makes it, you know? So I loved it, and I'd give it 9 Nuru Nuru tentacles out of 10. So, yeah. 9 out of 10. I loved it. I thought it was great, and I'm excited to see the rest of this. So please, no spoilers. I'm probably not going to record these too far ahead of time in the future. And like I said, if I have some extra time to post an extra one sometime in the middle of the week, like around a Wednesday, I'm going to totally do that too. But, yeah, I guess that's it for right now. So thank you for watching. Like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this episode and what you thought of my thoughts on it and all that. Subscribe for more Ansatsu Kyoshitsu, much more on the channel. I almost said classroom. Also, if you would like to help be a part in suggesting and voting on new series and helping to support the channel to keep it going, then a link to the Patreon will be in the description, and there you can help support the channel, and you'll get to vote every 3 months and give suggestions every 3 months for a new series on the channel. But I'm assuming that the voting for the next season or whatever is basically just going to be people saying, yeah, finish up at least the first season of Assassination Classroom. I'm assuming that this is probably going to just win, sort of, instead of switching this out for anything else. So, yeah. That's about it. Sub for more of this, I already said. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff with the channel, though I've been better about posting updates on YouTube as well. Or I can just talk to you there if you want. And if you want to talk to me or more of us on Discord, the Discord server is free and open for anyone. Just gotta ask and I'll give you a link to it. Just because I don't do permanent links, I only do 24-hour links, so that if anybody sketchy does try to get in there to spam, they can't just use the same link to get in there over and over again with alt accounts. So, yeah, if you want a link to the Discord server, though, just ask. I'll give you a link. It's open to anyone. But yeah, that's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.